most of it's ARPA. There are a few other categories that were not ARPA spending, but we'll go through them real quick. And then also the auditor recommended that we amend our budget for the additional state revenue sharing that we have. We received about $61,000 just for future budgeting purposes, and just because it was kind of an item that stood out this year because we ended up getting a lot more based on the state formula. So for the first expense line item there for community center, we have a proposed increase in the budget of $3,850. That's for ARPA expense for painting and electrical on the community center. And the next budget increase was for roads and chloride. We had budgeted $80,000, but we also did additional ARPA spending of, I don't say, $78,629. Plus, we have our June chloride invoice that was not part of our budget, but the work got done in this current fiscal year. So that's where the $83,771 comes from. And then planning and zoning, we had budgeted $8,700, and we ended up having a couple master plan invoices for $3,285, and plus we were overspent anyway by $988. So I know Todd, you'd said before that sometimes you would just move that out of contingency, but if you want to do that, we can. Or I just thought for simplicity, we just show it as an increase, but we could, in theory, add another line here to show that being taken out.
So with these adjustments here, we can just go into the QuickBooks and adjust the current year budget, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'd show.
Motion to adjust.
Just a couple other things. Culture and recreation, that was ARPA trail cost, and then the capital outlay, that is going to be for the ARPA roof of $34,000. So we're showing that we brought in more revenue, and then showing how we spent it, mainly ARPA related. So yeah, I guess I'm looking for a motion, and we'll probably have to do a roll call vote on this one, to approve the budget amendments for 2022 and 2023.
So moved.
Okay, is there support? Support. Okay, motion has been made and supported for the 2022-2023 budget amendments. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go through the roll call vote. Myers?
Yes.
Reeser? Yes. Lincoln?
Yes.
Burnwell?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard? Yes. Motion passed. In the 2022-2023 discussion, I did add this in here, talking about the deferred bonus that gets paid out in July for the previous year. And I don't know that we've necessarily ever had this in writing, but certainly the precedent has been that you earn that throughout the year and it gets paid out at the end. We have a little bit of a unique situation where we have 2 outgoing members who were in office for 10 months out of the year. And the question is, did they earn that bonus? So I think we as a board need to decide if we're gonna pay that out in July, and how much that would be as far as the allocation of 10/12. Seems fair to me. Again, I don't think it's ever been in writing, but that has been the precedent, that you earn it as you go through. Is that fair? Your understanding, I guess, your existing board members. So I guess I'm gonna make a motion that we pay them 10/12 of what their bonus would have been. And then as far as Marcy, and I guess I'll let you speak, but I don't want 2/12. I'd like to work the whole year and then look at the bonus. So that is, if you're okay with that, I guess the motion would be to only pay 10/12 for the one of the trustee positions and the supervisor position for 22-23. Is there support for that? Support.
To scribble some more.
Talking pretty fast.
updated, and then I went through and updated, and then, but we have to have them approved so that we can send them to the library to have them start using them.
Okay.
A couple of things that were changed, one thing was smoking and consumption of alcohol is strictly forbidden. We're gonna add also the use of tobacco. We're having problems with tobacco being in trash cans, getting fruit flies. Tobacco spit on the bathroom floor in the men's room, so we'd like to add that. And then we'd also add signs up here that there's no tobacco use in the community. And then, one thing, I was just reading through here, renters will be responsible for any damage incurred to the carpet, table, and chairs, and I'm gonna add walls. Because obviously, this is not acceptable
So
to,
something happened, that's what all those patches.
from this weekend.
From this weekend, okay,
They were not there last weekend.
okay.
So, I am addressing that with the renters, so we'll see where that goes, but, and then she also changed, it said to turn the thermostat down to 55, and the one renter said, "You really want it at 55 in the summer?" I'm like, oh, no. So, she put on here, where did it go? About thermostat should be turned down to 55 and all lights should be turned off before leaving. And then she added, during certain months to shut it off completely, because we don't need air or heat in here during the summer.
Okay.
It cools down very quickly, so I think it just turn that right off. That's pretty much the only thing that really got changed, except for the names and the phone numbers, so.
Okay, quick question, so do they have to put a deposit down, renters put a deposit?
They have a $50 deposit and a $50 to rent the hall.
Okay, so 50 to rent and a 50, and they get the deposit if there's no damage, so we're holding their deposit for what happened here?
I don't know if they have a deposit for this one.
No.
Because it was for this last weekend,
No, okay.
but it will be addressed and it will be.
Are you making a motion?
I'm making a motion that we accept these new renter rules.
I'll support. I beat you to it.
But I had a question.
Sure, yep, we're in discussion phase, go ahead.
Okay, good. I don't know too much about the rental here. It's been a long time. Why do they go to the library? How is the library involved?
The,
The community goes to the library to get the rental?
because they're open, we don't have office hours here, we don't have anyone here to field that.
And what do they?
So they go to the library, they put their name on their rental,
Okay.
they give a $50 deposit, they give a $50 rental fee. And then they pick up the keys there and they have to take the keys back,
Okay.
so then,
And they get a portion? The library gets a portion of that?
yes, but it's not,
It's minimal, like 10% or
like,
something.
I think it's $5 a rental for them to do it.
And that's part of the 20, or 50? Part of the $50 then?
No, we get a bill for that, from them.
Oh, okay.
So we get
Okay.
all the rental back, and then we get a bill once a year.
Okay,
This is
I
what you
want
owe
that.
us for the
Okay.
service. But without us having office hours and being open 24 hours, how do you get rental keys to everybody? Any further discussion?
Committee.
Hearing, none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Anything else? Okay, gonna go ahead and open up our 2023-2024 budget public hearing. So, open it up to the audience to, give us any comments you have on the budget. If you had our preliminary, available, and, we'll have discussion amongst us as a board after we close it, but, I'll go ahead and open it up to your comments. Matt?
Matt Hubbard, Cato Township. I would like to see us spend the money to get security camera. There was several incidents last year, windmill stuff. It's the 21st century. Somebody breaks the window that rents it, they say, no, we didn't. And that's a prime example right here, why we need a security. There was no deposit,
I'm not saying there isn't a deposit, I don't know if there's a deposit.
but that's a prime example why we should have the security, so there's no ifs, and buts, who damaged what, so That's why I would like to have this security system. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else? Jamie?
Jamie Snyder, Cato Township. I second the security system also. The other concern for me is the assessor and kind of like what Joyce had mentioned with paying them the extra money to hire out. I haven't heard of any other townships having this issue. So I also have a hard time paying extra money to hire somebody outside to come in and do the job. I think that was what was discussed at the last one. Is that right? So that's my concern. That's it.
Jenny?
I don't know where this falls or not, I'm Jenny Town from Cato Township, but when we heard the clerk's report, we heard that $7,700, $7,794.60 was in the new grinding schedule, but that's really not the new grinding schedule. Cause the new 24 budget, 23-24 budget doesn't start till July. So
That
that's,
is accurate, that is gonna go in this current budget, and that's one of the reasons of having your fiscal year in June, is you're always gonna have that cutoff of.
right, but
you're
when
gonna-
he made the report, he said it was gonna, for the last payment for the year, which it's not, it's the first payment for the year, it's the last payment for the 23 year, not the first payment for the 23-24 year.
It actually is for 23-24, but it was done in 22,
Yeah,
23.
it's the first application of our fiscal year 24 contract, but they did the work in fiscal year 22.
So we only had two last year for 22-23? Like, I don't get
It
it.
always overlaps.
Yeah, it's always gonna be, and
There's
that's
always
the
that 1
challenge
month
of the
overlap.
budget is you have to,
It's because the
one of
work
the
was
payments
done.
for the next
Okay,
year's
I have another
contract
question.
is the previous.
So, I don't understand the bonuses. Can somebody explain bonuses to me? Is it part of this 17,400 for the clerk and treasurer,
No.
or is it on top of that?
It's
Or,
not the clerk and treasurer, all board members get a bonus. They used to get IRA contributions for retirement, and some years ago, that ended. And they don't give, the board is not given IRA payments any longer. It's just deferred compensation as a bonus at the end of the year. It's always been that way for as long as I've been.
okay, so where's it listed on the budget? Is it somewhere in here?
It's under, it's on the last page under, I think it
It
says
says IRA and other functions.
But it's been around, I went back in the minutes, it's been around since 2003, they've been doing that a long time. So,
Is it taxed?
yep, it's treated as payroll.
Is the $150 a month taxed?
No,
That's 1099 then.
no.
So it's just hanging out there, $1,800 a year that's getting paid, that's not getting 1099?
Yep.
Or taxed?
Correct.
Is that correct?
I don't know. It's been that way since before my time.
Probably a question for the auditor, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's over $600.
The auditor is the one that does our W-2s and.
It isn't a W-2 if it's not being taxed, it'd be on a 1099.
Right, and she said that we do not need that.
Why?
It's considered rental reimbursement for your office in your home, you're traveling in your car, and whatever other errands you have to run.
Well, we can clarify that with her, but
Yeah.
have any other comments?
I just wanna know when the board approved to not have rental paid for this last weekend, cause I don't remember it coming to the board, that weekend was waived.
This has been waived for multiple years, because it's a community event.
Okay, but
We
is
do it
that
for
something that you
community.
just assume that when it's a community event, that we don't pay rent and we don't have it come to before the board? I mean, just cause it's been done like that for years, is that how we're gonna continue to do it? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that,
They
cause
use
there's
it for
nothing on the
Summerfest and
calendar that
Winterfest,
says the
yes.
hall was rented.
What?
There's nothing on the calendar that says the hall is rented this weekend.
Yes, there is. On the library calendar, it says the hall is rented.
On the library
Library
calendar, but
calendar.
I'm talking about the calendar for the Cato Township events.
It doesn't get updated for hall rentals. It's only
Why?
updated because you go to the library, we don't manage it.
But this is the Cato building. This is a community center, not the
We
library.
are looking at maybe getting a different website, and that'll probably be something to work on as whoever might be
If
the
there's a way to link
administrator,
it, yeah.
that we can,
Yeah, I just don't understand why we're paying the library to do this when we've got a community center committee. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, okay, just question, just asking.
I was gonna cover some of the same things, but, I agree with Matt. On the security, I think that it's, in this day and age, it's time to invest in cameras. Also for the cemetery, because I think maybe a couple meetings ago, you said there was some vandalism done. And I don't know if you guys, I missed the last meeting, so I don't know if it was brought up, I think it was just a budget meeting, but I would really like to see that maybe monitored somehow, or I don't know if a camera will do it, or two,
If they have internet out there.
yeah.
We talked about putting a light out there.
Okay, that might, whoops. And then, I also was curious about the bonuses, I was just trying to learn. You know, and I know like you said, and it's been brought up, this is how we've always done it. So maybe, if that's how far back it went, is there something to do on any of these issues that just because we've always done that, we're gonna keep doing it? That maybe it can be upgraded or updated? I think, in most businesses, and if this is run like a business, a bonus should be based on, you know, if meetings are attended, if certain things are met, if you've done all the criteria of your position, if you've followed the bidding process, if you know, so on and so on. Like, you start out, you know what you're getting for a bonus, I don't even know what it is, but let's say each one of you know what you're getting for a bonus, and then if, you know, unfortunately you have to miss a meeting, then maybe a percentage of that is reduced because the position wasn't complete or something like that. I don't, that's maybe not the correct wording or something, but I think that would be incentive for, you know, right now, you get it no matter what, as a board member, and it could maybe be for any, even the planning commission, whatever other committees get a bonus, just as incentive to be the best you can be. So, and then, I'm not quite finished yet, but I am looking into, I wasn't, again, not here at the last meeting, but I know that, there are requests for salary increases and so on, and I've been researching where we are as a state, and I'm trying to get all of the ones for the other townships too, because I wonder if we're below or ahead of those numbers of what the state, median is, or, if other township, trustees are making blah, 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 you know, why would another township pay more or less? I mean, is it something different in the criteria of their position or their job? Do they have more constituents, you know, and so on? I'm just in the middle of that right now, but I was wondering if, as a board, you might consider holding off on that part of the budget until there's more research done to see what that position should be paid. I don't know, just a thought.
Is that it? Thank you for your comments, appreciate it. Anybody else? Elizabeth?
Surprise.
Yeah.
You had mentioned public notices possibly running in the daily news at your last meeting. I just wanted to say I'm here to answer any questions, if you had any questions or clarifications about that process with us. If that's part of your new proposed budget, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I would appreciate that when we get into it. Maybe we might have a question or two for you. Okay, no more public comments. We'll go ahead and close our public hearing on the budget. And move right into salary resolution. So we currently have this, call it a salary resolution, but it's really just kind of an overall catch-all compensation schedule for anything and everything that could be considered compensation. And I guess I would like to start with that, and I want to talk about board member raises and assessor and zoning administrator wages at the end separately, because I've done some research on that. But I did have a few recommendations to the, aside from those items, for the schedule. And we had talked at the last meeting about, it's under Township Board, so we say meeting per diem $60, and half for special meetings and training. And so that is outside meetings. I'm assuming that if you have to go to the county clerk for an election meeting or something, of that nature. But if it's a special meeting, I guess you'd only get half, so that's confusing to me, I guess I liked Joyce's idea of, making it a flat $50, whether it's a special meeting called over at the county or a regular meeting. And then for the training piece of it, we have, training mentioned in the planning board and also in elections. For the planning and zoning, it's $60 for each training, attended with board approval. And then for elections, it's, $60 for a full day and $30 for 3 hours. So I guess I was just to simplify it for the training, let's make that $60 for board, planning and zoning, and elections for a full day, and then the $30 for if it's 3 hours. Again, all of that would require board approval, to get reimbursed. But, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
You kinda jumped ahead from township board to elections.
Oh, well, I guess I was more trying to join together
Okay.
meetings and trainings.
So going back to township board, is that gonna stay at 60 or 50? What are your?
Well, since we're up in the special meetings to be 50, I was gonna say, let's just make them both 50. So that was,
Which one are we looking at again? Sorry.
I'm sorry, Todd's,
We had that last meeting. I don't know if you have one this time.
Thank you.
Or we had it in May, actually.
yeah. So we're talking about, 6 item down township board and how it has a meeting per diem, 60, and then half for special meetings and training. So I assume that means you only get $30 for training too.
So you're just gonna do 50 flat?
50 flat for the, outside meeting, whether it's a regular or special, make that 50 flat.
Okay, and do away with the half?
Do away with the half.
Okay.
Yep. And then for training, I would say let's make that consistent with, elections, which is $60 for a full day and 30 for 3 hours. And then, that would also apply in the planning and zoning. Right now it says 60 each for training meetings plus expenses, so that would be 60 each for training, for a full day. And 30 for 3 hours. It just seemed like we talked about it last time, that let's make it consistent, cause that is kind of confusing to try to pay that out. So you guys think that we have consensus? Because I don't think we need to vote, but,
Now that was for ZBA?
Planning, ZBA,
Okay,
and elections would stay the same,
as far as training goes?
as far as training.
Okay.
Okay,
What about wages for planning?
wages for planning and zoning, I'm on board with the 75 per meeting for the chairman and secretary, as long as the secretary's doing the full job, we
Okay.
can hash that out later. And then, 50 for the other members,
Okay.
and then the same schedule for the, zoning board of appeals, ZBA. Is there consensus or objection?
I just think it's nice to make it uniform.
And then one other, so everything else aside, again, I wanna talk separately on the board wages and the assessor and the zoning administrator. I had, let's see, it's under township board, it's the last sentence, mobile phones provided to supervisor, clerk, and treasurer. And the one thing I was gonna cross out supervisor and say a $20 per month, stipend in lieu of a township phone. But I guess, is that very, I was kinda
Well,
like you, I didn't wanna carry 2 phones.
I haven't turned it on yet. They just arrived at 4 o'clock today,
Oh,
so I
okay,
haven't done anything with
so we
it
could
yet.
decline that 3rd phone and
Or
then,
just not turn it on.
okay, so we wouldn't get charged, okay. Would you guys
I think so.
be okay if me saying no to the phone and just doing $20?
I have an issue with that because we bought township phones, so the numbers go with the township. And if you decide not to use it, it's available to you, you shouldn't get paid to not use a phone. It's your phone.
Right,
It's the same
but Todd
with-
put her
Well,
number
that's
on the
what
website.
Todd's doing too, right?
But Todd don't get a
But I
stipend
think
for it.
stipend.
He chooses not to use the township phone, he doesn't get paid to not use that phone. It was offered to him and he chose not to use it.
I kept it here in the office until Phil was requesting a phone, and I said, I'm not using this one, I'll turn it over to Phil.
Well, problem is you put my number on the website already. And I'm getting lots of calls from it, using my phone a lot. It's kind of similar to your clerk's rental. You know, we're paying you, we have an office here,
Yes.
but we're paying you to work from home.
I can work just from the office and nobody will get a phone call, that'd be great with me.
Well,
I mean,
it's in that same thing, I guess, but I'm not gonna argue over $20. That was
I'm just
something.
saying that's the whole point of us getting phones back in the day. Cause the phones came when I came, I didn't ask for them, but they came from our clerk, and he said that was the whole purpose, it's the same with the mailbox.
Well, we turned the phones off in the building here, we no longer have a phone or fax on here.
I didn't realize that you, were getting these phones. I thought it was, Larry just wants to keep his, and at that time, my number already got put on the website, I didn't authorize that. I'm getting calls, but I don't wanna hold this up over $20, to be honest. So, I'm willing to throw in the towel on that and say, let it, I thought that it was saving the township money by not having the mobile phone, and only doing a stipend, but.
Well, if I were you, I would take the phone and a separate phone number, and we'll change it on the website. And then your supervisor calls will go to that phone.
And then if you're not in office, then that phone number goes to the new supervisor, so then the township still has it. The problem happened when when I took over for Letty, she kept her phone number.
That's what Larry's doing, right?
Right.
And she kept getting all the phone calls, and so she would forward them to me, and then she also kept the mailbox. To this day, 10 years later, we still have people sending mail to box 89. It doesn't get to me, it doesn't get paid, and then they're mad at me. So it's been changed for 10 years.
Okay.
So that was the whole point of, let's get everything in a line, so that when you switch, everything goes with them, and it is off your plate.
Okay, I'm just gonna say scratch that, moving on. Okay, so wage changes, let's, move on to one of your other, pieces of paperwork. So this one has, some blue font on it. It says salary proposal board. And, the next page would be salary proposal assessor and zoning admin. Everybody got that? Front and back. Okay, so we talked last time about raises, and, we had the clerk and the treasurer, were requesting, 7%, and the assessor was asking for 3%, and the zoning administrator, I think, was around 13–14%. So we didn't have any research at that time, and I've gone and done some for each of our, board positions, so we'll go through them. First one is the supervisor. The supervisor has made $7,800 for a base wage that has been in effect since 2005. No changes since 2005. And then the bonus is $2,500. That was around 2013. So total compensation for the supervisor was $10,300. The Michigan Townships Association puts out a salary survey. It's kind of a neat tool. You can enter your data in, and you can filter it by different parameters to try to get somewhat comparable as you can. They told me to do it by population, so that's, I kind of put in a range for our population. And their middle, they call it the mean of the, I guess, range, the midpoint was 15,115 is what the mid-range for supervisors were. And then I also pulled a handful of townships, or I think there's 7 of them on here, where they had the information available online or their budgets. So of these 7 here, when Cato stacks up, the supervisor's position in Cato is the second lowest paid. However, I am not asking for any raise. Maybe we can revisit it in a year potentially, but I am not proposing any raise for the supervisor. For the clerk, so base wage is $17,400, and that is, I believe you said, Todd, in effect since 2015. Bonus $3,200, that was increased in 2013 for a total compensation of $20,600. Now from the MTA salary survey, it was $17,200, so pretty comparable to the base wage. Throw in the bonus and we're above what their survey showed. And then compared to the other townships that I was able to pull with the bonus included, our clerk's position is the highest paid of this group. And that same holds true for the treasurer. $17,400 is your base wage since 2015. And bonus of $3,200 from 2013, total comp $20,600, same as the clerk. MTA midpoint was $17,000, so again, that base wage is kind of right in the ballpark, and then put the bonus on, we're over scale. And then for the comparable townships, with this group, he would be the second highest paid. And then trustees have not had same as the supervisor, no change since 2005. Each trustee gets $1,680 a year, and the bonus is $1,400 a year per trustee for a total comp of $3,080. The MTA midpoint was $2,125. The way it's stacked up with those other township would be about the third highest paid, and the trustees were not asking for any increase. So now that we have some numbers in front of us, I think that we're already above scale, but I do, I guess, recognize that, you know, the jobs aren't getting easier. Compliance only, I guess, gets tighter. So I'm gonna kind of stick to what I had at the last meeting where I would recommend a 3% increase instead of the 7 for the clerk and the treasurer. That would be a $522 increase for each position annually. Anybody have any discussion on that or any questions?
Do you know how many parcels that these have in their township?
Yeah, I guess if you go to the next, or back side, flip side of yours, I don't know if it lined up exactly, because I did have, that's how I